What's up, creators, creatrixes, and other conceptual beings? I'm Wicked. I'm giving power back to the people, and you can't stop me. Today we are going to be discussing the Law of Attraction and how it applies to witchcraft. But before we dive in, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and click that little bell so that I can keep helping you keep your third eye in the sky. If you're feeling for more witchy information, head on over to the Wicked Witch's web and check out the virtual grimoire. With all that being said, let's get to it. The Law of Attraction states that like energies will attract one another. So when you hear me talk about your vibrational frequency, this is the energetic state that you are in, which is based upon your own emotional being. Now, when you are feeling really good, really happy, you are in a high vibrational state and therefore more likely to attract all of your high vibrational desires. However, if you're in a really negative state and you're feeling really low, that is when you are going to attract all of those nasty, unwanted things. The law of attraction has persisted since the start of the universe, and witches have been using it to co-create with the universe to bring about their intentions. It absolutely cracks me up that people do not realize the correlation between these two things because, as you may know, we have tons of spiritual influencers and self-proclaimed gurus running around talking about the law of attraction, and so few of them realize that this is witchcraft. This is what witches have been practicing for centuries, and I'll explain how in a little bit, but first, take a moment to laugh with me about this. Pretty much everything that these people are talking about is witchcraft. This is not a new thing to witches, but in fact, a very, very old secret. There are even a lot of witch practitioners who don't realize that they are practicing the law of attraction, but that's what it's all about. In the craft, we use certain objects, herbs, candles, crystals, etc. All of these things, they have correspondences to certain types of energies, and that's why we use them. We align our correspondences with the energy that we are trying to bring in so that we can better attract it. This is because each of these things has their own vibrational frequency, and that is how they are aligning with our desires. It is through the use of these tools that we are able to set the energetic frequency that we want to be at to bring about whatever it is that we are intending upon. So through the collection of your different spell ingredients and ritual pieces, you are setting the vibrational frequency for your practice. So whatever it is that you're intending upon, you want to make sure that all of your stuff is aligning with that desire, because the more of these things that you can gather into one place, and then when you go about to speak powerful words over them, you are lighting yourself up to be a giant energetic beacon so that the universe knows where to send this energy to. This is the very basic principle of spell casting, but it gets glossed over a lot. I'll admit that even when I began, I didn't fully understand this from a big picture level, but the more I work with the law of attraction and the more that I practice my craft, the more I realize that they are exactly the same thing. The law of attraction just doesn't use all of the extra tools. Sure, some of those preachers, if you will, are recommending crystals and, of course, eating certain ways. And to eat certain herbs is to also align yourself with the correspondences that they represent, which can help you to bring in your desires. But even through this process of suggesting crystals and herbs and meditation and setting your vibrational frequency, so many people are not realizing that this is the same principle of witchcraft. Now, it's important to understand this because witchcraft has such a negative stigma around it, but it is actually a part of our everyday lives. Witchcraft is in the Sabbats, it's in candles, it's in your recipes, it's of course in your crystals, and in so many more areas. Our society is actually built on the backs of witchcraft. A lot of the modern practices that you see in religions, they were taken from witchcraft, from paganism, but that's splitting hairs. Now, even if you don't call yourself a practicing witch, you can of course still work with the law of attraction, but it is going to help you to be more effective if you have a little bit of an understanding of how these things correlate. Because if you're able to mindfully set your own energetic frequency, you're going to bring about your desires all the quicker. But what if there were extra things you could do to help you achieve your desire? Things that you could do to help ensure that you stay in the right frequency, to keep yourself strong and fortified in the face of life so that your vibrational frequency doesn't waver when you are faced with obstacles. This is what the craft is all about. This is what healing with the craft is all about. We are able to create our own ritual practices and spells that can help us to stay where we want to be so that we can be a constant energetic match for our desires. When you take the vibrational scale of human consciousness and you apply it into the craft, it all gets a lot easier. This is like an energetic cheat sheet that is going to show you how to align with your desires by figuring out what the desire of your frequency is and what your current frequency is. Once you figure these out, you can figure out how to bridge the gap between the two so that you can become a direct energetic match. Now, this matters, especially if you're manifesting and you've been manifesting, because this takes all the guesswork out of it. This is like universal coding to help you figure out how to get what you want. By using this chart and a few extra tools, you can create incredibly powerful rituals that can help you unlock the next level of your life. When we come to this existence, we all have our own kind of predetermined desires. We have certain things that we are more inclined to, certain things that we are attracted to, and certain things that we want nothing to do with. This is all by grand design. See, before you go through the veil of forgetting and enter into the human experience, your higher self is picking all of these things for you, which means you decided what you were going to like, what you were going to do career-wise, what kind of relationships you were going to have, who you were going to have those relationships with, and so on and etc. Now, in my opinion, this would be a very similar concept to fate. However, there is still free will involved. So by making those human choices, you can align yourself with different versions of your life. These versions all exist in different vibrational realities. When you hear people talk about dimensional shifting, they are shifting through these vibrational realities. And these realities all correspond with the vibrational scale of human consciousness. So oftentimes when we first wake up, we are on the lower end of things. We are used to being observers of our lives instead of creators or even victims of our own reality, which keeps us at a very low energetic set point. But as we begin to awaken and as we choose to mindfully set our vibrational standpoint, we start to raise up through the scale. Now, each of these different levels is going to have a different path that we can take. So unfortunately, if you're stuck in a low vibrational level, all of your paths are going to be low vibrational as well until you choose to get into a higher frequency. This means you're going to align with the darker side of your life. You're going to experience some of those lower vibrational relationships and experiences in general. But as you choose to bring yourself up through the scale into higher frequencies, that is when you're going to be aligned with all of those positive desires that you have. And you have those desires for a reason. Like I said, they were kind of predetermined for you. Now, you might have your pick of the litter, as it were, but you are put here to realize those desires, to manifest these things into your reality. The biggest key to figuring out what is meant for you is by following your passions, because you have that passion for a reason. Passion is one of our quickest ways to get into alignment with our higher self because it ignites our soul spark and allows us to be lit up from the inside into the outer world, and then we can go about spreading and enjoying that light. To be in alignment is to be under the complete focus of your higher self and to be living your favorite life. Now, to hack into your favorite experience can sound really hard depending on where you're at on the vibrational scale of human consciousness. If you're really low vibrational, you are going to experience a lot of resistance when it comes to this topic because you have a lot of belief systems that you need to rid yourself of. Now, we pick up these belief systems throughout our entire life, so they are really programmed into us, and separating from them is not easy work, but you need to get rid of what doesn't serve you so that you can ascend to higher heights. This is where witchcraft can once again come in handy, because as you go about reprogramming your mind and you realize how much work it is, you're going to understand that it is a lot easier to do this if you have the universe on your side. Now, witches have been working in tandem to co-create with the universe for eons, and in doing this, you can set yourself up for a much easier course while you're trying to heal through your old life. In the craft, we connect with ancestors, spirit guides, and deities, and through them, we are able to channel really powerful messages from the divine that can do incredible things in the way of helping us to get to where we want to be. Tapping in to the law of attraction and using witchcraft to back it is not unlike playing a video game on God mode. Now, this is why a lot of people don't like it. We are taught that we are not meant to have any power as human beings, but that's just simply not true. As a matter of fact, we have all of the power in our lives based off of the choices that we make. But if you aren't accountable for yourself, it can be really, really hard to see this because you are in the habit of thinking that life is happening to you when in reality, you're happening to life. You are inflicting yourself upon this planet, upon all of its creatures, and upon yourself. A lot of the time when people are brought to the subject of manifesting, they have this kind of preconceived idea that it's otherworldly, that it's either really hard to do or completely impossible. But the truth is that we are manifesting all the time. The law of attraction persists. So with every desire that you send out, and with every fear that you send out, and with all of that energy that you are constantly emitting all of the time and you cannot shut off no matter what you do, the universe is responding to it. You are manifesting when you make your breakfast. You are manifesting when you brush your teeth. You are manifesting when you get in your car to commute to work or wherever it is that you go. To live consciously simply just means to be aware of what you are trying to manifest. Now, this means that you can take your energies and focus them in a direction that is going to help you get to where you want to be in life. So if you pair your passion with your intentful living, you are able to get everything that you have desired without hurting anyone. This is the most important factor, because to be truly in alignment, it means to do no harm. You cannot be high vibrational and be causing pain and suffering all over the world. And in order to truly achieve those high vibrational desires, your frequency is going to have to be high vibrational. Now, if you look at this chart, you can see that love is somewhere in the middle, which means you have to master being able to emanate love before you can get up into the even higher realms, into things like success, connection with the universe, enlightenment, alignment. To be really aligned with your higher self, love and kindness is one of the most basic tiers that you are going to have to get past. So spending any of your energy judging, hating, and even worrying about other people is only going to bring you down. Rather, instead, if you can learn to trust the universe and learn to see the good in everybody no matter how hard they make it, you are going to ascend to higher heights. Now, this is particularly important because when one of us ascends, the entire collective is raised. So in order to get rid of, for lack of a better terms, the energy of those really nasty people in the world, you cannot focus on them. You have to instead focus on the good. The more good that you do in the world, the more it raises the collective vibration. And when you raise the collective vibration, you make it harder for them to get down into those really nasty energies. This is why this is such important work, because it doesn't just benefit you to live your favorite experience, it benefits us all. All of our ships rise together. Now you need to understand that all of the positive work that you do for yourself helps everyone else too, because as humans, we have developed this scarcity mindset. We believe that if one of us has it good, then somebody else can't, and that's just simply not the case. But it has led us to form these really toxic belief systems that you have to keep yourself in a certain level of poverty or unhappiness or just simply being unloved in order for other people to benefit. Now, of course, there are extreme cases in the world where people make this true through their own successes, but you don't have to be one of them. In fact, the only way that we as a collective are going to win against that type of energy is for us to better ourselves, to raise ourselves up and to operate at higher frequencies. When we are at these higher frequencies, we are virtually untouchable to the low vibrating energies unless we choose to let them in. Now you have to understand that as you're trying to do this, there are going to be some of those pesky low vibrating energies that come in and try to steer you away from this path, because if we all get better, then they have nothing to feed off of. And this is once again where witchcraft can be so incredibly important, because one of the most powerful principles of the craft is protection magic. Through the use of protection magic, you can align yourself with higher beings who are going to watch your back while you do this work. As humans, we are so completely dictated by our ego. Some of us don't even know that we have non-physical beings who are always looking out for us. And the more that you pay attention to those high vibrational non-physical beings, the more power you give them while taking it away from the lower vibrational ones. Now, as you work with them to protect yourself, they will keep away the lower vibrating energies, eventually starving them out. When you're able to use the craft to protect yourself as you go through this work, it becomes so much easier. You can also use the craft to help to lighten your resistance, which allows you to let all of the good the universe has to offer in with a complete ease. As humans, we have this tendency to doubt our dreams, our desires, the success of anything. We worry, we get anxious, we get doubtful, we get fearful. And it is through those energies that we form resistance. And that resistance becomes like a giant concrete wall in the way of our path. Now, if we don't do something to dismantle that wall, we're just going to spend the rest of our lives behind it. But everything you want is on the other side of that. So you're going to have to find ways to lighten it so that you can get through these denser energies. Now, life is a process, so it's important to learn how to lessen your resistance and how to work through resistance because, again, a part of the human condition is to create it. We do this through contrast and paying too much attention to it. So when you have a desire that's incredibly high vibrational and you're always looking to the other side of the scale, you are creating tons and tons of resistance, not only just for you, but for the entire collective. In order to surpass that, you have to learn how to mindfully calibrate yourself to stay in alignment with your desires. Those who preach Law of Attraction have tons and tons of tips to do this, to help you to calibrate and to help you release your resistance, and I do shorts about it just about every day. But you can also use the craft to help you cut through that resistance and to keep it away from you. There are countless ways with which you can pair the craft with the Law of Attraction because they were meant to work together. They were created for this purpose. Like I said, witches have been using it for eons, as well as other magical practitioners. These are the secrets of the universe, and this is why so many people doubt them, because it's not common knowledge, because we don't put our energies into proving these theories, because the powers that be don't want us to be powerful as a mass, as an entire race, because that is very threatening to them. I'm here to say, fuck that. Everyone should know the capabilities of their own power. Everyone should know these secrets, and that's the entire reason that I started this channel, because as I was learning the secrets of the universe, I just felt like it should be common knowledge, and that's why I do this for free. I'm a big proponent of free knowledge and for letting anyone who will listen know that they can better their own lives by simply choosing to. And unfortunately, the craft has a ton of negative stigma, so I'm out here trying to change the tone of that. But if you really can't get behind the idea of practicing witchcraft because you've listened to too many people tell you lies about it for too long, that's okay. You can still practice the Law of Attraction, as long as you realize that it's like the diet version of the magic of the universe, and that it could be easier if you were willing to get rid of those toxic belief systems. But it's your path and your choice, and there are other schools of thought that have helpful tactics for doing all of this. I just think it's really important for everyone to know that if they're practicing the Law of Attraction, if they are working with their higher self, they are practicing the craft and they are working with the spirits. Now, the sooner that we can normalize this and the sooner that we can make it common knowledge, the more power we are going to have access to. The more people who are constantly inviting positive magic in are going to continue to feed that energy, which is going to raise the frequency of this entire planet. And the higher vibrational we are, the more power we have to play with in ways that we can only dream of right now. I'm here to see life get really cool, and that's why it is my mission to give power back to the people. I am tired of the suffering and the hate and the negative stigma around positive things that was put there to keep us away from our own power and capabilities. That's why I do what I do. I have been using these schools of thought and these practices my entire life, and as I channel into past lives, I realize I've been doing it a lot longer than that. I just got tired of being the only one who saw it, and I felt that it was necessary to bring this to your attention so that you can utilize whatever possible to help you have the best possible time on this floating space rock while you're here for such a short life. Time itself is not finite, but our source energy in these human bodies is. So to me, it seems like a waste to not be enjoying it to the absolute fullest. I'm just a big proponent of thinking that we can do that through accepting these laws that work in the universe and by normalizing witchcraft as a normal thing that people practice positively and for good reasons, because the church has spent way too long telling an untrue story. But personally, as long as you tap into your power and you use it in a positive way, I don't care what you call yourself. I don't care what you practice. I just want to see an empowered race of people because we have spent far too long being oppressed. I think it's time that we rise up against that oppression. I'm giving power back to the people, and you can't stop me. That's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for joining me, and please make sure to like and subscribe so that I can help you keep your third eye in the sky. Stay blessed.